Thanks very much. Mr. Kies, welcome. I don't have time this morning to get into your role with regard to the Caterpillar company and the investigation into that. But can I get your assurance that when I ask questions for the record regarding your role in that episode, you will provide truthful and complete answers?
Absolutely, Senator.
Thank you. Let me give you an example, a hypothetical, if you don't mind. Company A and Company B compete with each other in the marketplace. Company A is an American corporation with its offices in America, and it pays taxes in America pursuant to American tax law. Company B, its competitor, opens up an offshore affiliate, which may actually be a place where work is done, with jobs moving from the U.S. to that offshore location, or it may be just a corporate shell to which profits are recorded so that it appears that profits that come from American consumers are actually overseas profits. And those overseas profits then get taxed at a lower rate. So Company B, by virtue of its offshoring scheme, is able to undercut Company A because it has a lower tax bill at the end of the day from the result of that offshore scheme. Is that good tax policy, and is that good for America?
So Senator, the hypothetical that you've described, which you did say was hypothetical.
But it's actually real. We're not making stuff up. It happens. So please proceed.
The change in 2017 to the international tax provisions eliminated what was previously deferral, which was the fact that a offshore subsidiary, if it earned income, whether in a low tax jurisdiction or not, was not currently taxed on it. Deferral was ended by the 2017 Act. So the hypothetical that you're describing, you may be referring to the fact that when the U.S. currently taxes income earned by offshore subsidiaries, there may be a lower tax rate because of provisions that were also included in the 2017 Act. But the 2017 Act actually made what you've described less attractive because prior to the 2017
But it still
Act,
happens, does it not? As the chairman, as the ranking member's investigation has just shown with Pfizer, for instance, hiding potentially billions of dollars in overseas profits to reduce its tax burden by millions and providing them unfair advantage both against drug companies that do not take advantage of that offshore tax scheme and small companies that don't have the resources to set up complicated offshore tax avoidance schemes. How does that make sense? Isn't that something that, just as a matter of decency and proper economic policy, we should try to eliminate?
well, and again, Senator Whitehouse, you have described a rather, I don't want to say simple tax situation, but
yeah, it's pretty simple. They're cheating.
No,
it's simple as hell.
No, they're actually very complicated situations which require significant analysis.
They're complicated machinations that it takes to get through to set up the offshore tax scheme. That's why words like scheme are appropriate. But at the end of the day, it's a simple proposition. You fake putting profits offshore, you reduce your tax burden, you save money, and you cheat both the American taxpayer and your competitors. Let me close with this quote. The hedge fund guys didn't build this country. These are guys that shift paper around and they get lucky. They make a fortune, they pay no tax. It's ridiculous. The hedge fund guys are getting away with murder. They're making a tremendous amount of money. They have to pay taxes. This was a comment that relates to getting rid of the carried interest exception. How do you respond to that?
Well, I mean, it's a statement by someone. I'm not sure who.
I'll tell you who. I'll give you a hint. Donald Trump.
Okay, interesting, and Donald Trump has raised the issue of whether or not they should revisit carried interest. And my job, if I'm confirmed, will be to carry out and implement the policies of the president and the secretary.
You sure about that? Not to be the voice for the carried interest, special interest?
I'm not just sure, I'm 100% confident of
Yeah,
that.
okay, well, events will prove it one way or the other.